Good morning and welcome to the online devotion from Mount Gilead Church. My name is Mike Bridgewater and I'm the operations director here at the church building. And if you've been following along from home this year, you know that here on Friday mornings, we've been working our way through the parables of Jesus. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to camp out in the book of Luke. We're going to specifically look at a sequence of events that starts at the beginning of chapter 12 and spills over into the first part of chapter 13. This is an extended interaction with Jesus speaking in some cases directly to his disciples and also to a very large crowd. For me, it's hard to comprehend the magnitude of the crowd size that gathers in some of these scenes. In this part of the story, that we're told that the crowd is so large that it's in the thousands and that they are literally stepping on top of each other. In these first 11 verses of chapter 12, Jesus inundates the disciples and the crowd with teachings and heavenly insights. He teaches about hypocrisy, not to fear man, but to fear God. The special value God places on man, the importance of being a faithful witness for Jesus, and even some foreshadowing of the role of the Holy Spirit. Then, as expected, someone in the crowd asked Jesus a deep and insightful question about his previous teaching. Well, maybe that's not exactly what happened. It says in verse 13 that someone calls out from the crowd and says, "Teacher, please tell my brother to divide my father's estate with me." And Jesus responds by telling him, "Hey, that's not my job." And as we have seen before, he uses the opportunity to teach them something deeper. He starts, though, with a warning and then proceeds to tell the crowd a parable of the rich fool. Verse 15 is the warning. It says, "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." Not a popular teaching in our culture. Have to keep up with the Joneses. Have to have the latest and greatest. Industry caters and encourages this behavior. Planned obsolescence is actually a business strategy. The development of the telephone is a prime example. Why is it that the rotary phone design was adequate for 70 years, then the touch-tone phone for another 30 to 40 years, and now in the last 15 years, since 2007, we are on version 13 of the iPhone? The truth is, in God's economy, he who has the most toys does not win. And then Jesus proceeds to take them even deeper, to an even deeper level, and tells them the parable of the rich fool. Let's start reading in Luke 12, verse 16. It says, Jesus tells them a story. "A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. He said to himself, 'What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops.' Then he said, 'I know, I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have room enough to store all my wheat and all my other goods. And I'll sit back and say to myself, my friend, you have enough stored away for many years to come. Now take it easy, eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for?'" I think we can see many reasons why the rich man could be called a fool. It could be his lack of being content with his situation. He had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. It could be his focus on self. You notice he says, "What should I do with my crops and my barns and my wheat?" As we learned a few weeks ago, we're just stewards of what the king has put underneath us. Could it be that he was a fool to think he'd have more time to enjoy the easy street? Hebrews 9:27 tells us that we all have an appointment with death. Or could it be that he was a fool to hoard? A truism of life is that everyone leaves behind the same amount when they die, which is all of it. Jesus gives us the reason in verse 21. He says, "Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God." Jesus follows up this parable with giving the disciples and us some practical life lessons in verses 22 through 34. He tells us, don't be anxious. Life is more than food and clothing. Learn from nature. It's useless to worry. Don't act like the unbelievers. And you are special to God, and He knows your needs. And He finishes that, although you can't take it with you, you can send it ahead. In verse 34, he says, "Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will be also. I heard it said like this: what you spend, you lose. What you save, you leave for others. And what you give, you keep forever. That's all I have for you today. Last week we learned about being an ambassador. This week we're going to learn what it means to be a soldier for the King. Have a great rest of your Friday, and I hope to see you here on Sunday at 9 o'clock or 10:30. Bye-bye.